guys, I am Pixel Dan, and today I'm going to be checking out the Mondo 1/6 scale Mer-Man figure from their Masters of the Universe lineup. That is right, I am way behind on taking a look at these Mondo Masters of the Universe figures, so we're going to go ahead and start rolling through them, but I'm going to start with the newest release, which is actually the one I've personally been the most excited for because I think the design just looks really cool on this guy. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So what you see here is the slipcover for the box. All of the villains in this line have this snake mountain motif for the slipcover. He-Man, who is, I believe, the only good guy we've gotten so far that's been released, his was, of course, a Castle Grayskull themed box, so it makes total sense. It's a really cool looking slipcover. I love the face of like the old Snake Mountain playset kind of right there on the front of the box. I love the colors. And of course, if we remove that slipcover, that reveals the actual box inside with the image of Mer-Man, the Masters of the Universe logo, and this is really nice. If you flip it around to the back, you've got a full color image there. And we got this cool little magnetic flap on the side, so if we open this up, it reveals the window box that showcases the figure and all of the accessories inside. I know I've got a lot of glare on the plastic, but we'll be pulling them out pretty soon here to take a look at them. And then over here, we've even got kind of like a little bio for the Ocean Warlord Mer-Man. So pretty cool stuff. I love the packaging. It's really nice on these Mondo figures. Very nice. Definitely feels very collectible, which fits in with this 1/6 scale lineup. But why don't we go ahead and get this guy ripped out of the box. That way we can get a closer look at the figure and all of his accessories. All right, so we've got our brand new Mer-Man figure outside of the box. Let's go ahead and start with the scale of this guy. As I mentioned, he is a 1/6 figure, and if I bring the tape measure in here, you can see that he stands pretty much exactly 12 inches tall. So right there, exactly at that 12-inch mark as you would expect him. And the details on this guy are really pretty incredible, and that's definitely what I want to focus on right here up front. So Mondo has basically been taking these characters and sort of redesigning them on their own. And of course, when they're bringing them into this larger scale, one of the things that's kind of happening in translation is the characters are getting a little bit more normal proportions. And what I mean by that is, when you look at the vintage Masters of the Universe figures, the 5.5-inch figures, they're on those very wide, very overly muscular, squat bodies. And that's just kind of the image we have in our minds when we think of these characters. Bringing them into this kind of high-quality 12-inch action figure scale, they are, of course, a little more thinned down because the body proportions are a little bit more normal. Now, they're still very muscular, but it's just one thing that really stands out to me is that they don't have that same just over-exaggerated build. And that's not a bad thing. It's just something that I want to point out with these particular redesigns. They also really get crazy with the details, and that is something that's really cool because that's something that you do want to see when you're talking about these high-end collectible figures. And Mer-Man, ever since this one was shown off, I've always thought this one just stood out among the other figures because, I don't know, he's already a great looking character anyway, but you can do some real fun things with all of the C-type elements on Mer-Man, and that is exactly what the folks over at Mondo did with this guy. So first I want to talk about this new head sculpt. Because as you can see, they definitely took some liberties and they redesigned the head a little bit. Now, he still has that Mer-Man flair because he's kind of got these little fins sticking off the top of the head, very much like the old 8-back version of Mer-Man. He's got the larger eyes with kind of the orange ridges going around them. But I really like how much more fish-like they made the overall face look. Like, he's got these fish lips with the tiny little teeth inside. He's got these little, like, antennas kind of hanging off the front there. And I really love the eyes that they gave him. Check out those bulbous eyes. Now, these are really cool, and I'm not sure if it's coming across too great on camera, but these are awesome because they're like translucent yellow eyeballs, and the pupils are sort of painted on the front of them on the top, so it actually gives them this like three-dimensional layer. It's really, really cool looking. In person, I was kind of blown away by how cool the eyes are on this guy. I absolutely love it. But all of those details really get crazy as you're looking at the overall build of this guy. Like, for example, if we're coming down here and we're looking at the body, I love what they did with the harness here. Now, again, they kind of kept the overall aesthetic of the classic Mer-Man, but they just amped it up quite a bit. And you can really see that when you come around to the backside, because if you look at the top, like around Mer-Man's head, it looks like an open mouth of a sea creature with all these teeth kind of all the way around, as if Mer-Man probably killed a fish monster of some sort and repurposed its body as his armor. In the past, I always kind of thought of his armor being more coral-like, but this works really well. This is very cool. I also love all the details like the barnacles that are stuck all over it. You can see little barnacles in there, kind of coming down in the front too. Of course, he does have like the little blue jewel there, and the belt is still shaped very much like the classic toy. You got these little teeth kind of jutting out the side. He's also got these sweet shoulder pads now, which are definitely made out of like fish fins of some sort, which is very cool. All those same details can be seen in his wrist bracers. Again, very much looking like he kind of built his armor possibly out of sea life and coral and stuff like that. I love the trunks that he's wearing. They almost have this Aquaman feel to them because they're scaled and they kind of have this shimmery gold look. And I think that works out really well. But what I really love is he's got all these tassels hanging from his belt with like little seashells and little trinkets hanging from them. Look at these little rings and all the little different types of seashells and everything. I just think that is a really cool detail. And again, all the way down to the feet there, where you can see he's got some of that seashells kind of worked into the design there. Again, some more barnacles stuck on his armor. All in all, I think this is a really well done redesign of the character, and it's exactly the type of redesign that I like, because you look at him and he still looks like Mer-Man. The color palette is still there, the overall shape is still there, but they really did some fun things with all of the crazy details worked into the armor, that awesome head design. It is a really nice looking toy. So, if you haven't seen the Mondo figures yet, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. First of all, I will say he's super solid. He feels really good. I mean, this just feels like a big action figure. He's got a lot of weight to him, and just feels like a very, very solid toy. So the head is ball jointed, so it can look all the way around there. In fact, it is on a peg. You'll be able to pop that off, and that's for the interchangeable head feature that I'm going to show you in just a bit. You can see he's got those ball-like shoulders, so the arms can go upwards. You can move the arms forwards and backwards. You can swivel at the bicep. You do have really nice joints at the elbows there. You can kind of see how they got this piece like covering the back of the elbow there, which works out really nicely. You could swivel at the wrists. Now, again, the wrists are also on pegs, so you might pop those out while you're kind of swiveling them around. They're not loose. I mean, you can see it's pretty tight, but it's also easy to kind of tug them right out of the socket. That's for the interchangeable hands that, again, I'll show you in just a bit. But you can also, move the wrists up and down as well with the little hinge joint there, so that's very nice. There is articulation in the torso. I will say that the armor is very stiff and rigid on this guy, and it's getting in the way just a little bit. Now, I can still swivel, and you can kind of see how his upper body swivels there, and you can turn the waist side to side, but this armor is very, very rigid on there, so it's going to hinder that articulation just a little bit if that's a point that matters to you. You do have the ball joints at the thighs, so the legs can go outwards. They can move forwards and backwards. You can kind of swivel them all the way around on those ball joints there, just like that. You do have double joints at the knees, just like that. You can also swivel them around at the knee there. And then the ankles, you can roll them all the way around on a ball joint there. You can move them up and down, kind of rock them around. So all in all, I'd say it's some really nice articulation. He does feel pretty sturdy. Sometimes the weight will cause him to be a little unbalanced, so you do kind of need to find the right way to lock the knees or the right way to put his big clawed feet to keep him standing, but otherwise, I haven't had any issues standing him up. Now, if you do have issues, luckily, Mondo does include a stand with all of their figures. You can see the bottom's got the Mondo logo. It's just kind of got that cradle that basically just rests under the crotch of the figure. But it does a good job of keeping the figure balanced. You just got to kind of pop that up there, rest the figure on it, and just like that, we can now display the figure on his figure stand. Now, that's actually got another use we're going to swing back to that as we're talking about some of these interchangeable parts, because as I mentioned, he does come with a ton of interchangeable hands and stuff. Plus, he's got a bunch of accessories that we've got to talk about as well. So you'll notice that right now, Mer-Man has kind of his clenched fists. That's the way he comes out of the packaging. But in addition to that, he does come with kind of these open hands. They're sort of more of like an open clawed type hand there. He's got one for each side. I really love the webbed fingers that they gave him. I think that's a really nice touch. So he's kind of got those clenching hands. He's also got the more wide open hands, so you can switch to those as well. He's got gripping hands for each side, which is going to be great for gripping onto a sword or as trident that I'm going to show you. And then he's also got trigger finger hands. Yeah, he's got hands with a trigger finger. Hold on to that thought. We're going to come back to that. But before we do, let me go ahead and show you guys real quick just how we can swap out these hands. You saw me kind of pull that one hand out of socket when we were articulating it. It's pretty easy. You can see there's a little peg there. You can just pop it right out of socket. We'll go ahead and take the gripping hand here. We're going to plug it into place. By the way, the wrist armor will just slide right off the figure when you remove the hand. There we go. Easy peasy. And over on this side, let's go ahead and put on, I really like these kind of open hands here, especially with, we can see the webbed fingers. So it's that easy, just like that. You can easily swap out those hands to kind of give your Mer-Man a totally different look for different poses that you want to pull off, because of course we've got several different weapons. As I mentioned, he does come with his sword, and this very much resembles that classic Mer-Man sword, just with the details amped up a little bit there. I've always joked that the vintage Mer-Man sword looks like corn on the cob. This one here very much looks like probably the way it was intended. It's got all these great teeth sticking off the side of it. It's got one big sharp shark tooth there at the top. It's got a bone handle. This is really, really cool. So the hands are pliable enough, the fingers are, that it's pretty easy to get them around the handle of the sword, and he also holds on to that sword nice and tight. He gets a good grip on it there, kind of lock the elbow there, so that way you can get him to pose it good. And I really like it. I love it. It's a great classic weapon for Mer-Man, and it's going to be probably, I think, the way a lot of people want to display him. But of course, if not with that sword, then probably with the trident, which is another excellent accessory, one that kind of came into prominence for the character in the 2002 era of Masters of the Universe figures. But again, it's got the same wonderful details. I really love how the bottom of it's got this spiral seashell kind of thing. I think that is a really awesome look. It still has the blue gem at the top, just like what we've seen before, and his gripping hand can hold on to that really well as well. All right, so remember I brought up that trigger finger hand? Well, that's because Mer-Man also comes with a gun. Yeah, he's got a blaster. And I don't know, I thought this was a bit of a strange accessory, personally, because I don't picture Mer-Man using a blaster. But I suppose if he needed some extra firepower against He-Man, he does have this blaster, which is exactly what that trigger finger hand is for. You can see it gets a really great grip on there. So, hey, if you need your sea creature to be packing some heat, you've got a laser blaster. So that comes with him as well. Okay, so talking about all these interchangeable parts and with these weapons and everything, I want to come back to that figure stand briefly, because this is something else I thought was really cool with this Mer-Man. He also comes with interchangeable feet. Yes, that's right, interchangeable feet. And that's because these feet are pointed kind of downwards in a swimming pose. So the feet, just like the hands, can pop right off these ball joints at the bottom there. We can easily pop the new ones on in place. So let me do that real quick. So that's pretty cool once you get those on there. And then we can do some fun stuff like, here, we'll kind of pose them in a bit of a swimming type pose, right? We'll bend one of the knees up. Let's kind of put this sword back behind him. We'll put this arm out to his side as if he's swimming. And then we can bring that stand back over here. And if you extend the stand upwards, like this, kind of bring it all the way up to the top there where it rests nice and sturdy like that, you can actually bring your Mer-Man and you can balance him on here. You'll probably have to kind of use the feet against the base of the stand a little bit, but I have found that he actually will balance on here. You got to find the right pose. And then look at this. We can actually position our Mer-Man as if he's in this awesome swimming pose. This is where this figure truly shines for me. I think that is brilliant. It's kind of the first time we've ever had an option like this with Mer-Man's feet to really give him a true swimming pose, an underwater pose with the figure. And that just looks awesome. I really, really love that. Okay, so there's one more thing I wanted to show you guys that comes with this Mer-Man, and that is an interchangeable head, which, hey, is the classic toy head for Mer-Man. Of course, Mer-Man's always one of those weird characters where his toy didn't actually match the artwork on his packaging. The artwork is actually closer to this redesigned head, but I know there's a lot of people that have a soft place in their heart for the classic head, me included. So let me just show you this real quick. You can, like I showed you, pop the head right off that ball joint. You can take this other classic Mer-Man head and you can pop it on in its place. And if you want to, you can display Mer-Man just like this. Now, I will say that as much as I love that head, and as wonderful as I think Mondo did capturing that look of that vintage toy in this larger scale, I personally don't know if I like that head on this body. And I kind of had the same thing with He-Man, because their He-Man came with the vintage toy head, and as much as I love that vintage toy head, it didn't really work for me with their redesigned body. So this doesn't look bad. I mean, this is fine. I just personally much prefer that redesigned head for this particular figure. I think that redesigned head is stellar. So there you guys go. There is my look at the 1/6 scale Masters of the Universe Mer-Man figure from the folks over at Mondo. I really like this one. I think this is a very solid toy. Like I said, he feels sturdy, he feels hefty. I think it's a really fun redesign of the character. It's definitely my favorite release in the Mondo line of Masters figures so far. So very cool, and if you are collecting all of these, I think you'll really like this one. Or if you're just a big Mer-Man fan and you're looking at adding different Mer-Man action figures to your collection, I really think you'll like this one. So definitely check him out if you have the opportunity to do so. Now, these high-end action figures, if you're a collector of these, you know that they are not the cheapest thing. So he is a bit on the pricey side, with his standard retail price being around the $160 price point. With that in mind, let's thank our sponsor over at Megalopolis and learn about their new Delay Pay feature. With Delay Pay, you can play now and pay later. Klarna will automatically pop up as a payment option at checkout when you make any in-stock purchase over $35. From there, you'll enter your details with Klarna and bam! Your purchase is split into 4 payments and your toys ship now. Pay as you go and play as you go with your toys in hand. Only from Megalopolis, City of Collectibles. Be sure to follow the link in the video description. And once again, very special thanks to Megalopolis for sponsoring today's video.